Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR PK Freeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship here from beautiful Watkins Glen here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Austin Knight. I'm joined by Adam Hadfield with Dennis Branch in the production booth here today. And we got another fantastic round of Formula 3.5 racing, and it's just always going to be so wonderful. And we're at new Watkins Glen too, and you know, I loved old Watkins Glen. The new Watkins Glen is about 20 times better. We got a lot, and you know, the track's updated and everything, and there are some track limits that you can really take advantage of as well. Turn 10, the second to last corner, you can just absolutely go as far as you want out there, and I'm expecting a few of these drivers to use that to their advantage today. The track is a lot smoother than it used to be, and you know, the curbs, they're very appealing to look at. I know not a lot of drivers like to look at the curbs or anything, but also 2 of our top 2 drivers are not here today, Eddie Samborski and James J. Pinsker. I've reached out to both of them asking where they are. I've only got one answer, and it was from James, who says he's quit sim racing full-time to become a full-time Viva Pinata player. So, well, I would like to wish James the best of luck on his future endeavors. Anyway, I feel like that's the strangest story I've ever had to cover in my life. Adam, is that up there in weird sim racing stories?
Sorry, Austin, I don't think I have the experience to try and rival you on weirdest stories yet. I've only been doing this a couple of months, so give me a year or two and I'll come back to you with all the weird and wonderful stuff that I catch as my career extends. But yeah, looking forward to tonight on this newly revamped layout. It should be exciting. And yes, I've seen a couple of the guys already in the stream as they take to the outside of turns 10, is it 11? Sorry. Just way out there, aren't they?
Yeah, now, most of the drivers, I don't believe we're going to be seeing really abuse the track limits here. These cars have all the downforce in the world, but, you know, when you can get side-by-side with the driver, it can get really tight in through that corner, so we're going to be seeing a few drivers, if they get side-by-side, really use that track limit to their advantage, because I remember in these cars, last time I came here, when I was racing in these, you could just flat out that corner anyway. But it will be a little bit easier on the tires, though. So that is going to be something to look after. Turn 9, the track limits has been improved there as well. We got a little bit of a runoff, a little bit wider track than it used to be, and turn 9 has always been a problem on the exit. I would say that was the most problemsome corner on the old Watkins Glen layout, but you know, this track now, it's super grippy, it's super fast, and it's a lot of fun. This is the closest track on the calendar to really be a oval type race. It's going to be nose tail action from start to finish here, and pulling out a gap is going to be probably the most important thing. But, you know, around here, the place where you got to pull out a gap is going to be in the boot area.
Yeah, I'd say it's like you say. There's not much of a challenge around here. It's simple corners, keep up your speed. There's not a lot of chance to get away from one another. But that semi-technical section, shall we call it, through the chute down into the tow, at least we've got the full international layout tonight, so there can be a little bit of cat and mouse round the back. Oh, as we see Wedgwood, pushing his limits.
He was flirting with disaster right there, using all the track, and then some more. Got into the grass, and you know, I think we're seeing a lot of that in practice, and you know, some of these drivers are still trying to find even more, as Sun Koid is sitting on provisional pole position, 4 tenths ahead of Fabio Di Carmo. Great qualifying lap by him, but you know, good qualifying lap's one thing. It's all about the race pace and pulling away from the draft, as you know, that draft is going to be extremely powerful right here, as we're looking at Mark Ponick, currently sitting in 18th after his first lap, heading into the toe of the boot right here. And I gotta say, I love driving around here. This new scan is just so fun, and in these cars, it's just a wild, wild ride. As he's heading into the heel, not using all the exit curves, but you can use all of that. It's out to your disposal, using all of turn 9 right there, heading into turn 10. Now, this is the one corner of the track that is famous for the IndyCar line of track limits, where it doesn't exist, but these cars have so much downforce on. It's just, you know, you don't have to even care about it now, as Mark Ponick goes up to 16th.
Yeah, not a bad lap from him, just jumped in a few places. As we come to the end of qualifying now, it looks like Sun Koid has snatched the pole. And I can take the honours, shall I, with Sun Koid on pole position with a 1:27.9, beating out Fabio Di Carmo, our second place from last week, running for Full Times Esports, just 4 tenths behind him. As front to the second row, Theodore Burns from Tomokoy Nakagawa, my apologies, and then Jason Sieg in 5th place and Pav Vasiliev in 6th. Marcus Alcron in 7th from James R. Byrne, Carlos Derecho in 9th, and Ben Hulko making up row 5. Ludwig Rankon in 11th from Dennis Cornu in 12th. I'll wait for the scroll. And Lewis Margugan in 13th from Tom Wedgwood, who we saw spin out at the end of qualifying there in 14th. Dennis Furchim in 15th from Mark Ponick. Jimmy Byrne in 17th from Cal Young, and lining up 19th and last on the grid is Daniel Gallis. As we wait now for the drivers to take to the grid, maximum of a minute's waiting time left to go. Fabio clearly lacing his boots up, getting his gloves in order. And the driver
Just
we're missing
getting
off
all
the front
set
row.
and everything. As well, we were looking at. I was looking at the iRacing rules. Turn 1, corner exit, edge of the red and yellow curbing is off track, and at turn 10, same thing right there. The edge of the red and yellow curbing will be considered off track. I had it a little bit backwards in there, but you know, the iRacing rules are definitely it's definitely a very useful thing, and I'm very happy that iRacing put in a very detailed look into there. There are exceptions. Off tracks occur with 4 wheels off the edge of the track, as we're 5 red lights, and we're green here at Watkins Glen. It's a good start by Sinkoi. Theodore Burns getting a great start as well. Well, look at the start by Tomoki Nakagawa. Down the inside of Fabio DeCarmo, almost a little bit of contact right there. DeCarmo getting ahead of Tomoki Nakagawa. Right there, Pat Vasilev right behind them as well, getting a great start as well, ahead of Jason Sieg. Marcus Alecron stuck in there as we head up through the S's and down that long back straightaway, and we're already dicing for spots right here. There used to be a bump in the middle of the track, but you see drivers either picking that inside line or the outside line. They are really looking for which line will definitely work for them as they head into the carousel right now. Sinkoi leading out the way, followed by Theodore Burns. Fabio DeCarmo right behind him. Look at this tightly contested fight heading into the boot right now. As they head for the first time into the toe, we got a side-by-side fight right here. That's the number 2 of Carlos Achero ahead of Ben Holkill right there. So they're side-by-side, and Ben just had the wider line, and Carlos able to hop up in there.
We look at Tom Wedgwood now, already up 4 places, making spaces on the start. That was some wild dicing as we went along the back straight. As Rancon comes up the inside of him, and Wedgwood just
back end kicked out on him right there, as he was really trying it, as everybody's using the curbing of turn 10 right there, and James R. Burns around.
Oh, that's curtains for him. Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's missing front wing. We also got cross at Jason Sieg's around in turn 1. This looks like there might have just been a tap right there, or lost him in the braking. Car looks fine otherwise right there, but he falls down at the end of the running cars. Here's a replay of what happened to James Byrne. Heading into turn 10, got onto the curbs, and he was in the grass when he hit the brakes, and bam!
That is such classic Watkins Glen's mistake there. I think I've done it a dozen times just last year. It's so easy to do. You come over to the left and you think you've got enough space to run it right into the grass, and then the grass bites you. And we pick up our second replay. This is going to be Jason Sieg. Let's see if he gets a tap, which I think he did. Netcode contact there, I think. There was no physical contact between the 2 cars. He's very unlucky to just get a slight bit of netcode and punted out to the side.
Yeah, netcode definitely the 3.5's biggest enemy right here. So they come out of the boot right now. Dennis Furkheim behind Ludwig Grandcon. Ludwig got a much better corner this time than last. The last time he got really loose, but you can see the grass already getting pulled onto the track in the penultimate corner, and see how close everybody gets to that final line. I can tell you throughout that race, that part of the track is going to get really slick for these cars.
Yeah, as we saw in the background there, a couple of cars bumbling over the curves on the exit to turn 1. Go on board with Ben Holko. As Wedgwood comes up his inside. Had to make room for him there, otherwise he was going to get pushed down the corner. Ben's going to get the draft,
though, of Alecron ahead of him, so Ben's not out of this fight just yet, but here comes Tom chopping the nose of Ben Holko right there. He knew that Ben was getting the draft of the car ahead of him, so he had to get in front of him right there. And Tom Wedgwood taking no prisoners right there. Up 6 spots since the start. Tom Wedgwood, biggest mover of the race so far. We're only 3 laps into it, so he's averaging about 2 overtakes per lap.
Yeah, that was really violent maneuver across the front there, wasn't it?
It was desperate.
Making absolutely certain that there were going to be no comebacks as they entered the carousel.
Well, I know Tom, and Tom is really passionate about doing well and performing in these cars. And, this is one of his favorite tracks. Theodore Burns, another favorite track of his. But Sun Coy, new fastest lap of the race last time by, and I'm expecting another one for Sun Coy, Japanese Formula 4 driver. We saw him take the first ever Japanese win in the iRacing Formula 3.5 broadcast here earlier this season at Suzuka.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in there. Suzuka, wasn't it?
Yeah, so
our main 2 competitors got into each other on the opening lap, didn't they? Allowing Coyd to jump in there and steal a much-deserved victory, actually. He was hot that weekend, and he's hot again tonight.
Yeah, Radicon is just sitting on the gearbox of Dennis Cornu, as the 2 Frenchmen are sitting in 10th and 11th right now. Now, I did ask Eddie and James before the broadcast where they are. I haven't got a word from Eddie. James, he gave me an answer. It was in the typical James J. Pinsker fashion of an answer, so I don't know. But he was asking about the conditions and how the track is. So even when he's not in the car, he still wants data and everything.
Yeah, all information to use at a later stage and a later race, isn't it?
Yeah,
and there are our conditions on the right for you there, if anyone's wondering.
39 degrees out on track. This track is absolutely toasty, completely opposite of how it is in real life outside right now. 59% dew point. I'm surprised humidity. I'm surprised we aren't seeing any vapor trails coming off these wings.
Yeah, you'd expect it. These cars can generate those things. Maybe if we went on a Titan onboard, you might see something. Or is that a feature stuck with the F1 cars?
I think it's just with the F1 cars, honestly. But they did say any high downforce car. And I think so. I just feel like it's just a F1 car thing right now. But these cars could definitely produce a vapor trail. Side to side they go. As James has joined us in the YouTube chat. Hate to be watching from the sidelines, LOL. So, well, he's alive.
Yeah, but, he's still with us. In spirit, at least.
As Jamie Byrne.
Gallus on the inside, is it?
Yeah, that's Gallus on the inside. Gallus able to make the move, but here comes Byrne off the exit. Byrne off the exit, able to get a better run right there, but he's going to be at the heel around the outside. Jamie Byrne, what a move right there, using all the exit of the track, swooping ahead of him right there. Jamie Byrne up into 16th. Beautiful move. Using the outside track, get a better exit, and Jamie Byrne's up there. Oh, Tom Wedgwood is in the wall. And Tom Wedgwood in the penultimate corner. Well, 6 overtakes have come and gone as he is back in 14th. This is what happened. Heading into turn 10. I feel like this is just Well, not only Tom had an issue, Ben Holko went sliding onto that corner as well.
Yes, that seemed totally of his own doing. That's not normally a corner you'd expect to lose it.
Yeah, both of them had incidents right there as Fabio De Carmo around the outside of the carousel battling with Tomoki Nakagawa. As Tomoki able to hold it off for third right there. Fabio De Carmo, you know, the track just kind of seems off for him right now. The really hot track, 39 degrees. I feel like the hot track is really pressuring these drivers to be a little bit more careful on these tires. And, you know, later on this race, the tires is going to be absolutely a key talking point. But right now, Coyd is just on another level, pulled out of the draft of Burns behind him. Side by side, Cal Young going to try to hold around the outside of Tom Wedgwood. But Wedgwood down the inside, using all the tracks for his defense and getting back up there into 13th. Qualified 14th, up 6 spots. And then we saw what happened at turn 10. And Cal Young, if you're looking at that rear wing, he's actually using the medium downforce set. And that's actually a lower downforce set than everyone else is using. Everyone preferring that higher downforce to get them through these high-speed corners and that technical section, as well as I believe he's the only driver on the grid using that medium downforce wing package.
Yeah, it should serve him well, certainly on the big long straights we've got here. I'd have expected to see more drivers on it, to be perfectly honest with you. Not that many corners around here where you've got to be high downforce. Maybe into the carousel here.
Yeah, the carousel being one of them. Turn 10, turn 9. Pretty much everything through the boot is where you want that high downforce thing. And this is where most of the track is. The more time you spend around here, the more you want to dedicate the car to that part of the track. And these cars can just fly through here. So the amount of time that you gain on the straight with the medium downforce is very minimum, because you see the sea of track that you have throughout this entire track. Overtaking is not a challenge. We saw this work at Bathurst, where drivers were using medium downforce. James J. Pinsker used that, and nobody could overtake him through Bathurst in the mountain section. He was able to kind of have everybody in a train and just pull away. Nobody could pass him on the straightaway because medium downforce. But here, everybody can pass you wherever they want because it's Watkins Glen and, wide boy.
Yeah, as Nakagawa's just set his fastest lap of the race, so we enter lap 8 now. He's 5 seconds off the lead, trying to catch up with Burns now and pull away from DeCarmo. DeCarmo's slipped back from second on the grid. He's looking backwards rather than forwards, unfortunately for him. Vasiliev is going to be the next one to challenge him. He might even take him down the back straight here. He's right in the slipstream.
Yeah, Pav right in that gearbox, looks down to the inside, heading into the carousel. He saw the car get a little bit of a bump right there. That's going to be canceling out of speed, and that's allowing Fabio to swing right ahead of him once more and stay in 4th place. But Pav is right there. It's just wrong time to launch that attack. There's a bump in the middle of the track when the NASCAR, the Cup circuit heads into the bus stop. The classic circuit, it still has the old pavement right there and a unfortunate bump there as well.
Yeah, and these guys, well, I would say they're really going to feel it. They're sat at home in their sim rigs, but in the real world, that's going to hurt after a few laps.
Yeah, it's going to feel like somebody got a mallet and smacked the underside of your chair when you hit a bump pretty hard in a single-seater.
To be fair, some of these guys will have motion rigs. They might get jolted.
Yeah, some of them might have butt kickers attached to their rigs, or some of them might have full-on motion rigs, or some might just be sitting at a IKEA desk on a single monitor with pedals held down by about 45 pounds of weights, aka James A. Pinsker, which I still can't believe that's what he drove on.
My first sim rig had the pedals jammed up against the back of the wall. They weren't going anywhere.
Oh, mine are
upgraded since then.
Mine are still like that, so. But then again, I'm in the commentary rig, so. Mine's a completely different setup. Later in your career, you got to make that decision. Do I want a commentary rig or do I want a racing rig?
You knock through. You knock through a wall, put 2 bedrooms together, and then you can have it all.
Move out of your parents' house first.
Anyway, back to the racing. Enough of our dreams. Fabio DeCarmo, he's lost it to Vasiliev, We saw it coming. Vasiliev, Pav has claimed that position on lap 9. And now, again, he's going to be looking back as DeCarmo, Alarcon and Derecho right behind him now. These guys covered by less than a second.
Ooh, we got a question. What was the last race of the series? And none of Olsen, Delisle, Tarleton, Ben Fuller, Ilbrink, Samborski, or Pinsker? that's a lot of drivers to have in there, but the last one I'm thinking of would have to be sometime last season, as we got a crash. That's Cal Young.
I don't know if he's actually caught the barriers there. I mean, he might have just spun on exit and sort of safely down the middle of the track. Let's see.
Oh, yeah, it's just all on him.
No, I was waiting for that to happen.
Too much
It's
speed, lower downforce. It was bound to happen. And quote by one of the drivers, I think that was Cal Young. Honestly, I was expecting that to happen. I think he just felt that he had the wrong downforce on there, and he felt the back end going. And yeah, he was just not confident in the car, carrying it through the corners right there. Cal Young, well, he's going to be very hurt, and I think he might just toad into the pit lane. No, he's still out there on track, but it's going to be a long day for him.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. He slapped the wall pretty hard there. I can't imagine he'd have got away with that one.
Yeah, he definitely get away with that one. You saw the damage up there, but you know his car is definitely. I'm expecting to see that travel to the pit lane after this lap because it looks pretty broken. So drivers head down the front straight away, heading into turn 1. Marcos Alarcon sitting there in 6th place, behind Carlos Achero.
Boyd's still leading the way. He's extended his gap to 3.2 seconds now. Appears to be just romping home from this point, I think. Unless he's maybe driving it a little bit too hard. We've already mentioned the temperature here tonight, and the tyres. If they can last a full race distance, you might just want to slow it down a touch just to preserve those. Burns and Ponick go at it again into the carousel. Burn round the outside.
Mark on the inside, though, at a much quicker line. He's going to be on the outside heading into the boot. And Jamie Byrne and Ponick able to hold it around the outside. He's got that inside line. It's covering off the nose right there. And Mark Ponick, what a defense by the Canadian on Jamie Byrne. But Jamie Byrne, he had that outside line. We've seen drivers who have that outside line get really fast heading into the heel of the boot, but he's not going to be there for this one. But what a defensive line by Mark Ponick, putting up the fight and getting the elbows out.
Yeah, that was a great drive around the outside there. I thought he'd lost it, to be quite honest with you. When Burns held on around the outside of the carousel, I thought he had the high ground. It wasn't to be for him, but he's going to have a few more laps to try and snatch this away yet. Those guys battling over 14th at the moment. We joined Tom Wedgwood on climb number 2 for the night, up to 11th at the moment, so he's made a couple of places since we were last with him. He's got 2 seconds to the back of Cornu, but Cornu and Furchheim close together. We can see them there. Are they going to be battling into the carousel this time round?
I feel like they're just too far away from each other, but Tom Wedgwood back ahead of Ben Holko, both of them having mistakes at turn 10. They head into the toe of the boot. Marcos Alarcon.
Yeah. Vasiliev just leading this group of 4 at the moment.
Yeah, Pav just...
Well,
Pav's last lap was his personal best, and that was mirrored with Marcos Alarcon. Fabio De Carmo falling down the grid, sitting in 6th place now. When earlier in the race, well, he started 4 spots ahead. So, you know, his race pace definitely struggling right here. It might be the setup not agreeing with the air temperature and track temperature being freaking hot is all I have to say. Side by side, Jason C. Oh, he's got that inside line, but around the outside, it's got the banking for him. Jason can really hold this off. Yes, he does. And yes, that is the most technical term that I can, it's the most universal term that I can get for everybody. I took a screenshot. James is asking me for the track conditions right now. I took a screenshot. He asked for C, and I just wrote hot.
Very good. These four continue to battle. I think this is our main battle on track at the moment. From 4th back to 7th, Vasiliev, Alacron, Takamo and Derecho just off the back of them. Vasiliev obviously hoping to pull away from these guys and chase down Nakagawa over the last couple of laps. It hasn't happened for him though. He's not quite got the pace tonight to go and challenge for those top 3, it seems. But never say never, we've still got half the race to go. It might be that he comes into his pace later in the race. The 3 behind him, all in a line. Kissing that apex as we go on board with Derecho. Lots of speed carried through the last corner there. You can really get an idea of the nature of this circuit and the speed that you carry around it. Down into turn 1, heavy braking zone. And again, plenty of speed carried. We're not using all the runoff on the exit of turn 1 there. Maybe the curb upsetting these cars too much tonight.
And it'll be an off track too. It's not like the old version of Watkins Glen to use all that off track, but if you're using all that off track, you're going to be really upsetting the car. And these cars do not a fan of the bumps. I can see everybody's staying to one side of the track right there, avoiding the bump on the in the middle of the track. So, this track does have that long straightaway, but you don't really get that big of a run. It's out in front of Fabio Di Carmo. Alacron loses the back end, heading into the boot, and it's a massive crash for Alacron. And I feel like the Chero might have caught a little bit of that.
Yeah, there was definitely some contact as well with the following drivers. Let's see how he lost it.
It was just too much mustard heading into the corner. He lost the back end. He got onto the curbs on the inside. And then, it's just too much. And you can see he does collect a little bit of the Chero right there. But super unfortunate for Marcos Alacron. Super fortunate for the Brazilian Fabio Di Carmo getting a place back. But, that's going to create a little bit of a gap between him and Pav ahead of him.
Pav immediately takes advantage, setting his fastest lap at 29.5. He's seen that in his mirrors and decided it's time to check out, it seems.
Fastest lap in the top 4, actually. Pav Vasiliev really putting the hammer down right there and trying to catch Nakagawa ahead of him. As behind him, Derecho and Fabio Di Carmo going to go side by side. Fabio really slow on the straightaway as Derecho just cleared him.
Yeah, that's an odd one. Maybe his setup is a bit too heavy on the downforce, and a bit too much drag.
He might be looking after his tires for most of this race, letting the draft carry him, and just getting more aero grip than a little bit needed looking after these tires. Because I remember the track temperature, with it being that hot, a lot of these tires going to be losing the back ends. We already saw a lot of cars having a spin. Cal Young, Daniel Gallas, Marcos Alacron, James Byrne, Ben Holko, Tom Wedgwood, all of them so far having a little bit of a spin and a moment so far. And that might be showing that these tires are going to be wearing out. And we got 10 laps to go. And you might want to keep that within your head. A 129.6 by Suncoid, 129.8 by Burns, 129.9 Nakagawa. Pav not increasing his lap time, but Chero 129.5 fastest out of the top 5.
Yeah, just checking back in with Wedgwood again as well. He's up to 9th place. There he is, the number 1 car, climbing up through the S's. He seems to be pulling Holko along with him as well, who will no doubt be thankful for the draft. And 2 seconds behind Furchheim still, who unfortunately doesn't have anyone to play with right now. Holko closing in as they go down the long back straight. Backs out of it by the time they get to the carousel though. And again into the boot, through the chute, picking up all the curb on the inside and outside there.
make sure
And this-
they're using
I was gonna
all
say,
the
it's
grip in their tires.
Yeah, it's a late braking into the toe there as well. That's one of the main features of this track, I find. Being able to brake as late as you can into the toe with that uphill right-hander.
And Holko in the draft. See, he's using a much wider entry into the line, getting some fresh air onto that wing, and taking a much more tighter exit than Tom Wedgwood ahead of him. And, you know, we see this in IndyCar racing where drivers hunt for that clean air. Around here, it's kind of have to follow the leader around for most of the entire time and then wait for that right opportunity. But for these two, they've been nose-tail with each other.
As we just caught Ponick there, picking up an off-track from the looks of it. Rattling over the outside curves and climb up the S's again. He's pulled away from Jamie Byrne in the last couple of laps. Looking ahead to Sieg. Sieg's last lap. Oh, as we jump to Morrigan on the back
Dennis. Dennis is hunting him down for 11th place. Dennis Cornu, the Frenchman, number 16 car. As he is, well, he's in the draft. He's hunting him down. Last lap, he was 6/10 faster than Luis ahead of him. So he's definitely had the pace to close down on him. And I feel like Dennis Cornu is, well, he is hunting for that spot ahead of him. And I feel like we're about to see the drivers who've been looking after those tires at the start of the race start moving up through the grid, as that's a big correction right there by Luis ahead of him. Saw him shoot down to the inside of the track. Oh, that's the catch the back end from going out.
Yeah, he did well to save that because that really snapped on him, didn't he? He went halfway across the track before he got it pointing in the right direction again. It'll be music to Cornu's ears though, to hear him slipping and sliding in front. Cornu, I think, the only driver, apart from Soin Coyd, still in the position he started the race in 12th there.
Ben Holko. He started at 10th.
Oh yeah, Holko as well.
And us three, but we started and we're finishing this race in the commentary booth, but that's a different story.
I don't know, I was thinking of moving into the seat next to me, actually. DeCarmo, meanwhile, still in 6th, still looking at the back of Derecho. Got rank on him behind him. Let's see if he has been looking after his tyres a little bit more. As you said, it should be paying dividends now as we enter the last 8 laps of the race. Final third coming at us.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to Fabio, but you know, his pace is not here today. Of the top drivers, his fastest lap is near the bottom of the top 6. It's exactly the same as Tomoki Nakagawa. So both these two drivers are, you know, just missing that pace that they've had. Now, he's putting out constant 129s, 129.7s, and 129.9s, sometimes dipping into the 30s, but it's just missing that pace, and it's kind of head scratching.
Yeah, there's not a lot left to fight for him now either. He's only really in this battle for 5th. I mean, I assume there's going to be a lot of battling ahead, but his hopes of a podium finish tonight when he started further up the grid have gradually slipped away from him, unfortunately. Started in 2nd, back in 6th now. Meanwhile, Marugan's lost his place to Cornu on that lap. Cornu snatching up 11th. But he's not going to give it up without a fight, is he? He's ducking
he goes
and
deep. Went deep into the corner. Here comes Marugan down the inside, but it just gets cut ahead by Dennis Cornu. Able to get into 11th right there. I thought he went a little bit too deep for himself heading into the boot, but you know, he just let the door open and had that opportunity. Says, hey, you can take this line. He'll have the inside line. It was a defensive setup in case Luis was coming back on him, but Luis under pressure by Jason Siga as we go back to our fight for 5th place. Fabio DeCarmo sitting in 6th behind the Shero ahead, and Luis Rancon behind. And woohoo, Luis.
Way out wide.
Ludovic going really wide in turn 1, and that will be it off track.
Yeah, meanwhile, at the front, Nakagawa's just set his fastest lap of the race. I think he wants to make it a Japan 1-2 tonight. He's not that far away from Burns either. I don't think the latter 2 positions on the podium are all made up just yet.
He's 2.1 seconds behind of Theodore Burns, and last lap was 0.2 faster than him. So he's definitely going to be pushing. We're closing on 5 laps to go here at Watkins Glen as Jason Sieg and Murugan side by side for 12th and 13th. I believe that was just, yeah, here they are. Here we go again. Murugan on the inside, Sieg around the outside, side by side they go. Here comes Jason. Look at Jason. He's got that inside line now. And this is a big late braking move heading into the toe of the boot. He's able to clear him, but watch Luis on the exit. He took a wider line that's going to be giving him more opportunity at the end of the heel, but it's just his car placement unable to top Jason Sieg right there as Jason able to take 12th place. Beautiful move right there.
Yeah, I think that's the 3rd or 4th example we've seen that of going around the outside of the chute and then claiming the high ground for the toe. It seems to be working for the guys tonight. That's clearly the sign of the track you want to be on to pull off these moves. Wedgwood sets his fastest lap at 29.4 on that last one. That's some great pace towards the last stages of the race.
That was almost fastest lap of the race too. He was 0.4 faster than Sun Coid's last lap, and that's saying a lot of things. There's only about 5 drivers that are in the 129s right now. Sun Coid, Theodore Burns, Tom Wedgwood, Ben Holko, and Marcos Alecron, who is driving a who is unfortunately not in the race anymore. So 4 cars out on track doing the 129s.
Yep, it's good pace. He's going to be kicking himself for the mistakes he's made tonight, unfortunately. Still, it's a good climb from 14th to 8th. You'd still be happy with that for a night's work. It's just a shame that we know we could have done a little bit better. Cornu, meanwhile, still chasing Furchheim.
Look at that time. 129.346 by Sun Coid. Theodore Burns following at the 129.626. Nakagawa 129.874, falling a bit behind Theodore. Teixeira 129.435. Well, driver's going to start using that DRS, and those lap times going to start falling now.
Yep, they've got, is it 8 uses of a DRS throughout the race?
Yes, it is.
Got to use them now. Use them or lose them, as it were.
DeCarmo on the inside of the Shero, and he's able to clear him. DeCarmo up on the move now for P5 for full-time esports. But here comes the Shero on the rebound. DeCarmo taking the high ground right there. The Shero on the inside behind him. That was Radcon, who's around and pointed backwards right there. And Radcon off in the grass. There's Tom Wedgwood. Ben Holko getting past as well.
He just had just enough on the steering right there, didn't he, that he could roll it round rather than having to spin it up. But let's see how he lost this one. We've seen a couple of guys lose it here tonight.
Too much mustard on the tires, but it just looked like he was carrying too much speed. And yeah, back end goes out, and it's so unfortunate right there. He's going to be, he's carrying wing damage as well, as that's going to be slowing him down.
Meanwhile, Decoy sets yet another fastest lap on that one. Still using up his DRSs now, making absolutely certain of this win tonight, I think.
Radcon is pulled out towed into the pit lane, and I feel like there was the driver. Oh, contact with him and Jamie Byrne. Cal Young was slow off the exit. Jamie Byrne just got into the back and, operated a pitchfork on him.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just a miscommunication there.
I feel like it's miscommunication.
Rancon probably thought if he started moving, he'd cause an accident, so stuck on the racing line, moving slowly. Unfortunately, Jamie didn't quite get the message and just caught him in the rear.
Oh, there's a replay of that incident of how he got into there. But yeah, there was a definite miscommunication right there. Jamie Byrne not happy with that, slow car on the racing line. But, you know, no communication saying, hey, I'm slow or anything. He's just catching up to him. And, you know, sometimes that happens, but Byrne's just definitely going to be fuming about that.
Coyd again, another fastest lap. He's just rattled him out to finish the race off clearly. Might even see a 28 by the end of this. He's just said a 29 flat on that last lap.
Yeah, if James and Eddie were here, they'd be doing 28s right now. Maybe a 27. There's Dennis Cornu. In the draft of Dennis Furcon, it's Battle of the Dennises right here. Battle of the Dennises, Denny. As Denny's. Well, they're side by side right here for 9th place. Cornu on the inside, Furkheim on the outside. And it's going to go advantage Cornu through the carousel. Here's Furkheim around the outside. Oh, I thought he was going to go for the outside line right there. Not today. Jason Sieg as well. He's going down to the inside, but is not going to be able to launch that attack. You see these drivers taking a much wider line at the exit.
Yeah, Sieg hoping to pick up the pieces here, I think. These guys battling at the bottom end of the top 10. And Cornu has not got this all his own way at all now. I think Furchan's going to take him back on what is the last lap we're approaching.
Yeah, white flag
the line
in the air.
One more time.
White flag for Dennis Furkheim to get back at Dennis Cornu. The fight for 9th place. Also behind them, side-by-side fight heading to turn 1. Jamie Byrne holding it pretty wildly on the inside on Mark Ponick. Ponick getting pretty crazy up ahead. Here we go. Side by side down the long straightaway. Furkheim and Cornu. It's Cornu holding that outside line. Jason Sieg and Dennis Furkheim on the inside as it's a chop of the nose. Sun Koid pulled out an absolute stormer of a gap, played the perfect race, and he is looking pretty for his 2nd race victory of the season for 465 Garage. The Japanese driver is going to be taking his 2nd victory in the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship. Sun Koid. Great performance out there. Theodore Burns comes on in 2nd place. Nakagawa gets his first podium ever as well. As it's going to be Fabio DiCarmo finishing a 5th. Carlos Achero 6th, and Tom Wedgwood is 7th. To our 3-wide battle. Furkheim able to get ahead of Dennis Cornu right there. It looked like he made it happen around the carousel. Furkheim's going to be finishing in 9th with Dennis Cornu in 10th. Jason Sieg in 11th.
Nicely done, Jamie. Good job, bud.
Yeah, and Burns beat out Ponick just at the end there. Those two battling all race long as our last couple of drivers come across. Gallis and Young not quite to the line yet. Our remaining 3 drivers, unfortunately, Rancon, Alcon and Byrne, James Byrne that is, all retiring at different stages of the race. But you're winning tonight, Sun Koid, for the 2nd time in 2022.
And the 6th different winner around Watkins Glen. of the 6 times we came here in a broadcasted iRacing race, iRacing 3.5 championship race here on Apex Racing TV.
Yeah, it's right on the line.
We've had 6 different winners every time, and none of them were ever won by Eddie Samborski or James A. Pinsker, surprisingly. So another history, and thank you, James, for being the walking statistics book that you are. Here are your full-on race results. Sun Koi takes the victory ahead of Theodore Burns. Tomoki Nakagawa at their first podium finishes in third. Paz Vasilev in fourth. Fabio De Carmen, Carlos Teixeira, Tom Wedgwood with an unfortunate spin dropped him down back into 14th. He was able to pull back 7 more spots and finished in 7th. Ben Helko in 8th, followed by Dennis Ferkheim, Dennis Cornu, Jason Sieg, Luis Macaron, Jamie Byrne, Mark Pontick, Daniel Gallus, Cal Young, Ludovic Rancon, Marcos Alicron, and James R. Byrne. Their last 2 drivers, last 4 drivers really having a lot of incidents and a lot of stuff. But yeah. Very interesting race out here today in Watkins Glen, but history. History today, as I got an answer from Eddie Samborski, he went snowmobiling today.
One way to spend your afternoon, isn't it? Not quite as high octane as our boys tonight on the racetrack, though, I fear. As we just wait now to see if anyone wants to join us from the interview room.
As we take a replay at the start, you can see Fabio De Carmo off the line. It's just a slow start, but look at Tomoki Nakagawa's start off the line. He's just rocking himself off the line, and he immediately jumped the spot right there, Fabio De Carmo. But his off the line phase was absolutely out of this world right there.
Yep, got the move done in the first stages as they moved away from the line, claimed it into turn 1 and didn't look back.
And James, I don't believe will be with us next week, but we are joined in the booth by Theodore Burns. So let's bring him in there. Theodore, how are you feeling about that race?
Very relieved that that's finally over.
It seemed like it was getting pretty on the edge with grip at times. The track being at almost 40 degrees Celsius. How are your tires after this race?
Oh, that was the biggest concern out there, because that was a hot track, and this is, I think, the hardest track in the world on tires.
It just didn't accelerate coming out of the
so it was difficult for sure, managing it all race, and trying to still have the pace in the car to keep the gap in front of everyone, and keep running the pace we were running in the race, and trying not to burn them off. It was trying to find that fine line of 80% throttle through a corner to not lose any time, but not burn off the tires. And definitely had to underdrive it a little bit, and I was big into the management mode all race. So it was very, very tough technically to drive, not so tough racecraft wise, because it was pretty clear around me, but it was definitely very difficult mentally all race.
Yeah, the updated Watkins Glen seemed to still keep that high tire degradation that the old one had. How do you compare this Watkins Glen to old Watkins Glen, and which one do you prefer, even if it's a very obvious answer?
Well, I definitely prefer this version. It's there's some nice improvements with some of the runoff areas and the track limits compared to the old version. It's just a little bit smoother, but it just keeps you that little bit more honest with tires and the setup. So it worked really hard this week with the Downforce Racing guys on trying to make a fast setup that was easier on tires than everyone else, and so it gave us that little bit extra wiggle room where we could push the car if we needed to, knowing that it wasn't going to give out on us.
It absolutely looked planted out there for you, especially you. Next week we head to Road America. How you feeling for next week?
I love all of these U.S. tracks. I always somehow manage to show pretty well at them, and Road America is my home track, so I'm very looking forward to that. That's my favorite track to race at on iRacing in real life. So I can't wait to show up there next week, and hopefully we can put on a good show and get another solid result.
All right, Theodore, that sounds exciting. I can't wait for next week. Looking for to see you up there on the podium, maybe at the very top of the podium as well. You never know with these things. Well, Theodore, before we let you go to get ready for Road America, anybody you want to thank?
Yep, love to thank my Downforce Racing teammates. It was big team effort this week with everyone trying to get the setup dialed in. Shout out to Ed for organizing the broadcast and doing a great job with that. I know he couldn't be here today. He's out snowmobiling, so having some fun doing that. So happy to put a Downforce Racing car up here on the podium in his absence and show well at one of the U.S. tracks. So thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast as well. Love watching it back every week.
And thank you for putting on a great show out there as well. I know anytime we see you guys out there, you're always having fun. And even if it's a very stressful time with, as you were saying.
Yep, for sure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, too. Well, Adam, I believe that is the end of our interviews here. Next week, Road America. How are you feeling about that?
Well, we go from one American great circuit to another, don't we? Very much a similar sort of high-speed layout, but with the carousel similar to here as well. I'm expecting similar sorts of racing, but I wonder if we see any of our front runners or our usual race winners back next week to try and reclaim their crowns. It'll be interesting, and let's see if Son Coyd can also be here to challenge them.
Yeah, a lot of storylines. Can Theodore Burns take a surprise win at Road America? Is Eddie Samborski going to get off a snowmobile and actually join us on track? James J. Pinster will be still missing next week for he's apparently serving a iRacing ban. I'm not clear on what exactly, but he will not be here next week. So it's all up in the air for next week at Road America, and I am all for it. Thank you all for joining us here on the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship broadcast here on Apex Racing TV. I've been joined by Adam Hadfield and Dennis Branch in the commentary booth, and I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, You will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar world champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.